Let me tell you about two people. Same age, same city, same general income range. Person A drives a brand new car, lives in a nice apartment in a trendy neighborhood, always dressed well, always eating at good restaurants, always on vacation somewhere. Their Instagram is a highlight reel of a life that looks like it is working very well. From the outside, successful, thriving, doing well. Person B drives a 5-year-old car that runs perfectly fine, lives in a modest apartment in a quieter neighborhood, does not eat out much, does not post often, does not look like much is happening on the surface. From the outside, ordinary, unremarkable, maybe even a little behind. 10 years later, person A has a lifestyle and a credit card statement that match each other perfectly. Person B has a net worth that would genuinely surprise everyone who knew them. This video is about why that happens, and more importantly, why the pressure to look wealthy might be the single biggest thing standing between you and actually becoming wealthy. The image of wealth is not wealth. We live in a world that has made the appearance of wealth easier to acquire than actual wealth has ever been. A credit card and an Instagram account are all you need to look like you are doing very well financially. The car can be leased, the apartment can stretch the budget past what makes sense, the clothes can go on a card, the vacation can be financed. The image is available to almost everyone. The reality behind the image is available only to the people who choose it over the image. And here is the specific tension that this creates. The people who are building real wealth, quietly investing, aggressively saving, keeping their expenses deliberately below their income, often do not look wealthy at all. Their car is not new, their clothes are not designer, their apartment is not the nicest one they could technically afford, their social media is quiet. Meanwhile, the people who look wealthy are often the ones furthest from it. The lifestyle consuming every dollar of income, the image maintained at the cost of any actual financial foundation. The problem is that we use appearance as a proxy for financial health. We assume the person with the nice car is doing well. We assume the person with the modest car is struggling. And we make financial decisions, sometimes enormous ones, based on that assumption, keeping up with people who are themselves drowning, racing toward an image that is financed entirely by debt. Real wealth is built in the spaces that nobody sees, in the boring decisions that never get posted, in the choosing to not buy something rather than buying it, in the investment account that has no visible form in the physical world, in the monthly contribution that happens automatically and silently while the rest of the world is at the restaurant. The new car announcement is visible. The index fund contribution is not. The designer bag is something people comment on. The emergency fund reaching $10,000 is something nobody knows about. The vacation gets posted. The savings rate does not. Real wealth building is almost entirely invisible, which means the people who are doing it look like they are not doing anything. They look ordinary. They look like they are missing out. They look, from the outside, like they are behind. And that appearance is one of the most psychologically difficult things about choosing the real version over the visible version. Because humans are deeply social creatures, we care about how we are perceived. We feel the pressure to signal that we are okay, that we are doing well, that we are not falling behind. And the easiest way to signal that in the world we live in is through spending. Not having it, spending it. The spending is the signal, and the signal costs money that could have been building something. The specific costs of looking wealthy. Let's be very concrete about what the performance of wealth actually costs, because it is not just the obvious purchases, it is a whole ecosystem of spending that exists specifically to maintain an image. The car payment. Driving a car that costs $500 a month instead of a reliable used car that would cost you $150 a month is $350 a month in pure image maintenance. Over 5 years, that is $21,000 that did not build anything, did not grow, did not compound, just maintained the signal. The apartment, renting at the top of what you can afford rather than somewhere comfortable and below your means, might cost you an extra $400 to $600 a month. Over 3 years, that is $14,400 to $21,600 that went to looking like you live well rather than actually building financial security. The clothes, the going out frequency, the dining choices driven by where looks good versus where makes sense. The trips taken on credit, the things bought because the group is buying them, the upgrades chosen because the old thing looked too old. None of these feel like financial decisions in the moment. They feel like lifestyle choices. But every lifestyle choice has a financial cost, and the cumulative cost of choosing the visible version over the building version is staggering when you add it up over time. While the visible wealthy are upgrading cars, the actual wealth builders are maxing their investment contributions. While the visible wealthy are moving to trendier apartments, the actual wealth builders are staying in the affordable one and investing the difference. While the visible wealthy are on their third international trip of the year, the actual wealth builders are building the kind of financial foundation that will eventually let them travel whenever they want, without a single dollar of debt attached to it. The actual wealth builder is not suffering. They are not living a joyless existence of pure restriction. They are living a life that is simply calibrated differently, where the long game is more present in daily decisions than the short one, where the question, "What does this do for my future?" is asked alongside, "What does this do for my image?" They drive the perfectly reliable older car, and they feel nothing about what it signals because their net worth growing does not care what car they drive. They live in the modest apartment, and they feel nothing about what the address communicates because their investment account growing does not know what street they live on. They have uncoupled their self-worth from their net worth, and in doing so, they have freed up an enormous amount of financial resource that was previously being spent on the gap between the two. The pressure is real. Let's talk about it honestly. I am not going to stand here and pretend that choosing the building path over the visible path is easy. It is not. The social pressure around money and appearance is genuinely powerful. We are wired for belonging, and belonging often means fitting in with the spending patterns of the people around us. When everyone at work orders the expensive lunch, you feel it. When your friend group is taking a trip you are not sure you should afford, you feel it. When your cousin buys a new car and parks it at the family gathering, you feel it. When your social media feed is a constant stream of people upgrading their lives, you feel it. The discomfort of choosing the modest option in a world full of visible spending is real, and it deserves to be acknowledged, not minimized, not dismissed with, "Just stop caring what people think." That is not how humans work. We care what people think. That is normal. But there is a specific reframe that genuinely helps. The people you are keeping up with financially, most of them are doing the same thing you were considering. Most of them are making the visible choice because everyone around them is making the visible choice. The keeping up is mutual. The performance is collaborative. And at the center of it all is a group of people all spending money they could be building with in order to signal to each other that they are doing fine. When you step out of the performance, you do not fall behind. You opt out of a race that was not taking anyone anywhere. What looking poor while building wealth actually looks like in practice. The person who is winning financially while not looking like it has a very specific set of characteristics that are worth naming. They drive their car until it stops being reliable, rather than until it stops being new. They rent or buy at a level comfortably below their maximum qualification. They spend on experiences and things that genuinely matter to them, and quietly decline the ones that are more about image than enjoyment. Their social media is not a financial performance. Their net worth grows consistently and privately, while their lifestyle stays deliberately modest. They take genuine pleasure in the gap between what they look like they have and what they actually have, not because they're secretive or antisocial, but because that gap is the measure of their financial health. A wide gap between modest appearance and substantial net worth is one of the best financial positions a person can be in. They're the person who surprises everyone at retirement, the person whose financial situation looks unremarkable for decades and then suddenly turns out to be extraordinary, the person who has options, who has freedom, who does not have to work because they need to, but can choose to work because they want to. The reframe that changes everything. Stop measuring your financial health by what your life looks like. Start measuring it by what your life actually is. Not the car, the net worth. Not the apartment, the savings rate. Not the clothes, the investment account. Not the vacation, the financial flexibility that determines how you live for the next 30 years. Looking poor while building real wealth is not a consolation prize. It is the strategy. It is the specific decision to value substance over signal, reality over appearance, the 30-year outcome over the 30-day impression. The people who choose this path are not missing out. They are building toward a version of freedom that the visibly wealthy are borrowing against. And one day, when the people who looked wealthy are still managing their payments and their performances, the person who looked ordinary will be genuinely, quietly, substantially free. That is the whole point. I'm Zara, and we're just getting started.